Welcome back into the 84th annual MTR Western Sports Star of the Year pregame show here on 710sports.com, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, all sorts of different platforms. Curtis Rogers here, Lydia Cruz, Stacy Ross with you until 7 o'clock here. And we are joined now by the intrepid Jessamine McIntyre, who's got our very next guest. Jessamine, who do you got with you?
I have the ever-talented Morgan Weaver. When I did a double take, seeing you out there on the field doing what you do, and you look all glittery and fancy tonight, it's absolutely fantastic. But I have so much respect for you as an athlete. Just tell me what this season, this 2018 season meant, because you guys had quite a run.
You know, there was a lot of injuries this year, and I think a lot of people stepped up and just showed us who they were and what they were going to do, and I think that helped our team the most. And just everyone was so positive this year, and I've never seen our team so amazing with each other, and we were just so great this year, and I was just so happy with everyone. And then, we ended up losing, but I think we're ready for next year.
Right. I mean, only one team gets to end their entire run on a win, right? So that's the end of it. But you are up for a Female Athlete of the Year, and you've got quite some foes in that category. But it must mean a lot to just be put in that same pool as them.
No, I'm so honored. It's such a great accomplishment, and I'm so happy for all the other athletes that are here today. And, anyone I'm running up against is awesome. They're so amazing, and I'm so happy to be here.
And I hear that you're cousins with our own promotions director, Jessica Kelly. Such a small world that we have over here. But you're from University Place, you're local, so it must be nice over here on the west side to get some Cougar recognition.
Oh, of course, and of course with Jessica, she always tells everyone, hey, she's a Coug, she's my cousin, so, it's always with that.
Well, good luck as you are up for this award. It's an honor to be here, just like you said, and we'll be pulling for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Washington State's own Morgan Weaver up for Female Sports Star of the Year tonight. This list of candidates, we've got obviously Morgan Weaver, who was just with us, Jody Taylor of the Seattle Reign, Brianna Stewart, WNBA MVP, Alexis Montgomery of Seattle U, Sis Bates of the University of Washington, Devin Edelman of the Special Olympics USA Games. To me, that was one of the more underrated stories of the year, was the Special Olympics coming to Seattle. For the very first time over at Husky Stadium, where they had the opening ceremony and closing ceremony, and just that whole week when those athletes were here, just incredible hearing their stories and just being a part of that. I think that was one of the coolest moments of the entire year here in Seattle.
I agree. Getting out to Husky Stadium, and we had people in our company that volunteered and told us about those experiences, and it was amazing to see. I think the fan support really it struck a chord with me to see everybody out there supporting this really important organization. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, giving those athletes their chance to shine and to be the superstar athletes that they look up to and have that moment where they're treated that exact same way. Just an incredible week that was in July. Sure hope that it comes back soon.
No, it would be nice. I mean, it's a premier event, right?
Absolutely.
And you always want a big thing like that in your city, and I think it just speaks volumes to Seattle and its growing sports kind of fandom for everything, right? The hockey team, like you mentioned earlier, it's really becoming just a target for that.
I mean, it is one of the sports stories of the nominations up for Sports Story of the Year.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's run through them.
Yes,
let's do
absolutely.
That.
Well, NHL, Seattle ticket sales, the franchise announcement. Of course, we had heard what the Vegas Golden Knights had accomplished in their time span. Seattle, with their interest, absolutely blew them out of the water. Looks like we might have to come back to this because Jessamine, again,
she's
take it away,
wrangling
my
up
friend.
everybody.
Do it.
Who do you got, Jessamine?
Oh, hi. I'm taking over again, guys. Thanks for having me. I am with NFL great Jacob Green, who I affectionately refer to as Dave Wyman's buddy. You obviously, have had an amazing career. You've seen tons of athletes come through here. Just tell us a little bit about what this night means through your eyes.
Well, this is a big night. It's a big night for the accomplishments that all these guys and ladies made, and for me to be here, it's a privilege, and I know a bunch of the guys, and it's just always good to be here in Seattle and being a part of the event.
There seems to be a similar theme from everybody who's come over and chatted with us about Seattle being a special place. And, a two major sport city. Now, I don't want to discount the others, but everybody talks about the big four, but there's so many different sports being represented here. What does Seattle as a sports town mean?
Well, Seattle's a great sports town. I came here in 1980, straight out of college, and the fans couldn't have been better. The organization, the Seahawks, the Sonics, the Mariners. I mean, it's a great city, and hopefully one day we'll get some basketball, make it a Big Four again. But I tell you, the fans, the community, the media, it's always been great for the Seattle athletes, and Seattle means the world to me, you know, especially since I came here in 1980.
Yeah, 1980. Can you talk me through the evolution of the fanhood since you got here through now? Because I've been here 10 years, and I've seen nothing like it. I came from New York, and I am just blown away by what they mean here.
Well, the fans have always been great. I mean, it's like a college football game. They stand, they scream, they holler. It's always been like that, and even today, I mean, when we're in the Kingdome, and the Kingdome was in 1976 when the franchise started, it was something about the city that really just people got behind, you know, because of the Huskies, the wave, and then all of a sudden now you got the Seahawk Quest Field. It's amazing. It rocks. So it's never been a town where they didn't scream and holler. We're always behind our football, basketball, baseball teams, but certainly back then the fans kept us in a lot of games.
One of the people who's spoken about so much when it comes to that building at VMAC now, back in your day, you guys were in Kirkland back in the day, Sandy Gregory, and she's being honored with the Paul Allen Award tonight. Just tell me a little bit about Sandy.
Well, Sandy's a special friend. I've been knowing Sandy for a long time, and she with the Seahawks organization for 42 years. When you think of the Seahawks and you think about all the community, everything that the Seahawks have done, you think of Sandy Gregory. To me, she is Mrs. Seahawk. She's always will be, and she is, and she's always been that person that couldn't say no to anybody as far as helping the community and helping players and the community here in Seattle. So, you know, she's like a sister to me. I love her, and this is going to be a big night for her.
Well, we'll certainly be giving her a standing ovation when she receives that award. Thank you so much for stopping by and enjoy the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys, take it away.
Thanks, great guys. Jacob Green, Seahawks Ring of Honor member. So cool to see not just the present-day athletes who are up for awards tonight, but also there have been a lot of guys walking through here, a lot of ladies walking through here who have made their mark, who have left their mark on Seattle sports tonight, including one specific team who's going to be very much honored tonight, and that's the 1979 world champion Seattle Supersonics. I don't know about you guys, but
you're so excited.
I am. These are the guys. These are the dudes.
Are
Jack
you already
Sigma.
sweating? You're so nervous.
I mean, I was sweating just because I'm in a suit right now, and people of my stature aren't meant to be encased like this for this long. But you know, Jack Sigma, Downtown Freddie Brown, all sorts of legends that we've come to know here. I miss the NBA.
I know.
Really
yeah.
Let me tell you what. When Jacob Green said, "And hopefully you get basketball back here," I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
I was.
You felt it. You felt it.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's just. I can't tell you how many times too. I'm sure you guys get that question all the time. If it's just friends who are like, well, you know, you've been following the NHL stuff. Do you think basketball's next? How far away do you think that is? Even with all the trade news that's happening, with people saying maybe the Pelicans will go to Seattle. And it's just anytime people are, and obviously that doesn't have wheels, but anytime people hear about anything, they're so excited. This city is ready for a basketball team.
Absolutely. We saw it a couple weeks ago with the Phoenix Suns and their arena situation where the Seattle name was floated out, but then they ended up getting approval from the Phoenix City Council saying, yeah, we'll build an arena. It's just every single year it seems like we go through this conversation. I'm very hopeful that one year this conversation will actually come to fruition and actually have basketball to look forward to.
Honestly,
because this is a city that deserves it.
And that's the thing. The more we have nights like this where we recognize not just all the sports greats that we have here, but like you said, the sports history that we have. We recognize people from different teams. We just had someone from a rugby team that just, like you said, won their inaugural year. So the more that we talk about that, the Special Olympics coming here, it really, really highlights that, and in my opinion, it makes it more likely. Maybe I'm just being hopeful.
It's okay to be hopeful as well, but it's also seeing what the Huskies are doing. I know it's not the same as having an NBA team here, but seeing how people are responding and rallying around and just to see Heck Edmondson fill up again and feel the excitement there. People who say that Seattle is not a basketball town,
they're wrong.
No, you're wrong when you see that and you see the energy and excitement. I mean, and how excited people got over a preseason game in Seattle.
When
standing
the
ovation.
Warriors and Kings came here, Kevin Durant throwing on the Sean Kemp jersey.
I love Katie.
Not a
Thank you.
dry eye at Key Arena that night. The very fun event in that stadium's history. You bring up the Huskies, what they're doing right now. They're playing. They're tipping off in about an hour or so.
Yeah. I'll try not to check my phone.
Same
No,
here.
that's okay.
I've got other rooting interests in that game, but you've got some of the guys on the team. Pretty much the biggest names on the team this year, outside of Jalen Noel, Matisse Thybulle, David Crisp, Noah Dickerson. Those guys were here for the worst years of the program when they won 2 conference games just 2 seasons ago.
I was going to say, we're not that far removed from that.
And now they are undefeated in Pac-12 play through 9 games. To me, I think those guys have become Husky legends in a way that I don't think they expected. But to see how far the program has gone in a couple of years as somebody who looks at the Pac-12, I guess, on a larger scale.
Yeah, well, and you look at where a program was and then where it ends up with someone. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you won a championship with that team. I mean, you look at the team with Jake Locker, Chris Pope. It was a team that went to the Holiday Bowl. And yeah, that's not the Rose Bowl, but this was a team that was the same core group of guys that were there for the winless season.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will say, oh, it was, you didn't get as high as the group they have now. But, I mean, those games, at that Holiday Bowl, I, jumped off of my couch screaming because it was just so nice to have that excitement back.
And there's something to be said about just hope, right? It's why I love spring training and pitchers and catchers report day, which is, 5 days away.
Monday
Not
that Lydia has it written down anywhere.
It's in, a calendar with a heart around it or anything. But that feeling of hope and just finally feeling that your program, whether it is successful right now, but is built to win in the future, is such a great feeling. And it starts with the people at the top. It starts with Jen Cohens of the world who hire the right people, but then it starts with coaching. When you have a great coach, you really feel, especially in collegiate sports, where if you have a great coach who is also a great recruiter, you feel hope for several years down the line.
And sometimes the best sports stories aren't about the teams that won it all.
Yes,
absolutely. I mean? There are some teams that just, exactly, like you said, they inspire hope in fans or they help turn a program around. Being able to get to the level of a college football championship takes a long time. But to be able to start that and take that first step, sometimes those are the sports stories that we celebrate tonight.
Well, and one of the sports stories, not up for nomination tonight, but one of the stories that really gripped me over the course of the year, and I think gripped a lot of college football fans, was the Cougs. And the tragic offseason that they had, losing Tyler Helinski to his untimely death, his suicide, in fall or in spring camp, not knowing where their quarterback was going to come from. They find Gardner Minshew out of Eastern Carolina, and then all of a sudden they start winning 1 game, 2, 3, 4. All of a sudden they're 10-1. They're hosting College Game Day. Everything is going their way. No one could have predicted that kind of turnaround from where they were. Even Mike Leach, he seemed to have a foot out the door interviewing for the Tennessee job. For them to come together and have the season that they did, and I think it was due in large part to this guy who's going to be joining us right here.
It's a perfect way.
Jessamine McIntyre right here on our live string. Jessamine, I think we know who this guy is, but how about you introduce him to us?
Well, guys, probably my favorite athlete. No offense to anyone else in here to cover this year. Gardner Minshew. It's been a whirlwind for you. I saw you earlier. Basically, I'm losing count of the amount of awards ceremonies that you've been going to. What's the postseason been like for you?
It's been crazy. Not much time off, going from, the kind of the postseason circuit to the bowl game to Senior Bowl, now working on the combine, and now I'm here. It's been crazy, but, man, it's been a blast. I'm telling you, I'm having fun.
Going back to the Senior Bowl, everybody gets to watch the television, the game on TV, but nobody sees the preparation that goes into it, and that's what the scouts really pay attention to. What was the week like leading up to the Senior Bowl?
Yeah, the week's crazy. It's busy. It's 6 a.m. to about 1 at night, filled with interviews, psychological testing, all kinds of stuff. So it's busy. It's definitely trying on you, but it was a lot of fun.
Is that preparing you for the combine that they're trying to do there?
Absolutely, and I think a lot of it will take away some of the burden from the combine, get done some of the interviews, some of the psychological testing. So hopefully the combine will be a little easier.
They prepare you for any of those weird questions?
Oh, I got. I mean, nothing too crazy. A lot of mustache questions, of course, but yeah, nothing too bad.
Now, for those of us who haven't heard the full story of the mustache, it sounded like it was a training camp thing that stuck. Why did that hang around so much?
I don't know. Like it kind of caught storm, you know, and now I was stuck with it for a while, but then it was like kind of Stockholm syndrome. Like I came to love it, you know. Like it was holding me prisoner. Like I had to have it, but then I just love it. Like so, I mean, I can't see me parting ways with it now.
Well, you gave it a little friend with the beard. It's filled in very nicely. Now, I know there's one of 32 you're looking to join. When it comes to looking ahead in your career to the NFL, what are you thinking about when it comes to draft day?
Oh, man, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I can't control any of that. I control everything I can do up to that point, and then everything I can do after that point. But you know what? I just want to excited to get in the building, go to work, and, you know, be a part of a winning team.
This season was a pretty magical ride for you with the Cougs. Is there any favorite part that really stands out to you?
I don't know. There's a lot of favorite parts because we won a lot of games, and wins are always fun. You know, the Oregon game was definitely special, how crazy Pullman was, seeing the support all week, you know, state of emergency in Pullman, all that. That was really special.
I enjoyed it as well. Last night was at the signing day celebration. Obviously, you're leaving the team in good hands, but what does the future look like for the Cougs?
Oh, it's bright, man. It's bright. Coach Leach has built something that's going to be sustained for a long time as long as he's there. They're recruiting at a higher level. You see it with each class. They just keep getting better and better. And these young guys that we have, I can't wait to see what they're going to do. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to your future. And tonight, up for Male Athlete of the Year. Just tell me what it means to you to be mentioned in this group, along with all these fantastic athletes among several different sports.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, you want to be here. You want to represent Washington State with a bunch of pro athletes, college athletes, and you know, put Washington State, you know, kind of give them a little pub, you know, because we don't always get it over in Seattle. You know how that is. But hey, we're glad to be here, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, congratulations. Good luck tonight, and go Cougs.
Yeah, go Cougs.
All right, guys, take it away.
Thank you. Can we talk about how Gardner is still representing here with the Washington State little lapel pen?
Yeah,
I see that.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Once a Coug, always a Coug.
Apparently.
Yeah. And, I mean,
I'm
I
getting
don't know
the stare
about-
down. I'm sorry. I'm getting the stare down from the Mariner Moose right now.
Yeah.
It's very distracting.
he's distracting our cameraman, Taylor
Right?
Jacobs.
Up
Mariner
to no
Moose.
good, the Mariner Moose
Yeah.
back there. I'm sorry, Curtis.
It's all good.
I couldn't let
it's
that
all
go.
good. But Gardner Minshew, I mean, the swagger that he has going from him to us, or at least from myself.
Do you feel like it was a step down?
I feel like such a square. Like
I feel like something was taken from me.
like I need my inhaler or something. Like
This is what it is.
I can't compete with that, man. Come on now.
I mean, come on. Don't sell yourself short. You got
Yeah.
this.
Sir, hi. You are wearing a 2-for-1
Yeah,
suit tonight.
2 for 1.
Okay.
And,
Someone
you
knows
know,
how to find a deal.
That's something to be
Yeah.
proud of, Curtis.
Yeah. Okay.
Curtis, what
Okay.
was your highest sports achievement in life?
highest sports
Yeah.
achievement in
Like
life?
we're going from Gardner Minshew,
In life.
that amazing season for Wazzu, such an exciting future in the league.
I still hold to this day the Lake Youngs Elementary School hotspot basketball shooting record, 57 points in 2 minutes.
Wow,
I need an air horn right now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
You heard it.
I got hot from deep. That's all it was. That's all it is.
If you still hold the record, though.
Yeah.
Let's not
to
again.
This day.
Let's not sell yourself
You're the only
short.
one that can say that.
Yeah.
No one
it's
else.
True.
Ultimately.
Everybody that's walked through that elementary school, which I don't know if there's a ton
You know
of
who doesn't
notable
have it
alumni.
is Gardner Minshew.
That's
Right?
So congratulations,
Whoa.
Gardner, on your season.
Give him a couple minutes. He could probably do it.
Yeah. Stacy, how about you? What is
Yeah.
your highest sports accomplishment?
I got 10th place at a swimming
Whoa.
event, and 10th place ribbons are brown. I don't know if you knew
I
that.
actually remember that from swim team. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
They would go all the way up to 10th place, which just seems
Which is because there's 6 lanes, so I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I was
How
gonna
did
say.
that happen?
There's separate heats.
it was the heat.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was competing. I was in the same race. There were a lot of girls there, but I was in the same race as a girl who was a junior Olympian. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, if I'm
things were
10th place
stacked.
to her first place, in between us, there's got to be some great athletes.
Right?
I think it was just superior, and then I'm great. that was the drop-off.
Speaking of scaling yourself based on other people's greatness, I'm going to say that one of my greatest accomplishments was I played against Danielle Laurie in select ball.
There you go.
And not only was it one of the most frightening experiences of my life to get in a batter's box against Danielle Laurie, one of my heroes, but to foul the ball off of Danielle Laurie.
Should be proud of that.
Like hitting a home run, like hitting a grand slam, okay?
You walk
Did
back
you
to the
just walk
dugout.
off? Yeah.
Y'all just see that? Y'all just see that?
I made soft contact. That's what I did. Yeah.
No brag.
That's probably my greatest accomplishment.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting to see Wazzu's season on Sports Stories. But, I mean, I think that there's just so many things that are happening that it's hard to even narrow it down to the 5 that are nominated. But one of the other ones on here that we didn't touch on is Shaquem Griffin being drafted and reunited with his brother Shaquille during the Seahawks draft back in April. That was such a phenomenal story. And when we were in the draft room and we were taking the calls afterward, he was with his brother, and we ended up talking to Shaquille afterward. Like, they just handed the phone over. So it was a family event when it was happening, and it was so touching to see that.
Absolutely, and I think it was a story that a lot of fans or the media had followed along with the Draft Shaq's back-to-back campaign, as I was seeing on Twitter, but to see, well, if he won tonight, by the way, this would be his 3rd award in as many weeks. He was honored by the NCAA, and then he was honored by NFL at the NFL Honors. So if he would be cleaning up.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 award per week would be pretty impressive.
It's a sweep, is what it is.
Exactly, a triple crown.
Yeah.
An award a week for like an entire year, that would be a streak. I would
see if we could keep that going.
Award a week for an entire year. Curtis, after that, you're just getting punch cards.
It's
like,
true.
What award are you getting every week for a year?
I feel like tonight, whoever wins Sports Story of the Year should also get like 10% off at participating Red Lobsters.
Yes. Yes, absolutely, because those cheddar biscuits, let me tell you what. Yo.
On some real levels, I mess with those.
Yeah.
Like, those are real. If they have anything close to that here tonight, I've seen people walking around with some hors d'oeuvres. If they can like come at us with some nice biscuits, I'm down with that.
2 things I've been distracted by tonight.
Yes.
Mascots
the number of mascots
who
that
are
are here.
enjoying messing with us, and then food. So as you mentioned, like I just see a tray of delicious looking things and I can't help but be
At one
distracted.
point, if you guys can believe it, a mascot reached out and offered us food.
Yes.
So both of those things were, I'm not just making this up for like a lame joke.
Yeah.
This
Really
really
happened.
happened.
It was Boom, who we don't know his relation or her relation. We got Harry the Husky. We got Cool Bird of
As
the
we were
Thunderbirds.
saying.
Harry, how you doing? Cool Bird, how you doing?
Harry.
Very
Hi.
formal. That's very formal. We're getting
There we
handshakes.
go. Yeah. Look at this.
Oh.
Harry's grabbing a mic. He's joining us here on set. Harry, how you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, watch
Be
out.
careful, Harry.
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the dog's going to look tonight against Arizona?
Oh,
Looking
good.
good? Okay.
2 thumbs up.
There you
Okay.
go.
I don't know if I can agree with that.
So we
What?
got an Arizona fan.
Oh,
in the house.
now I
know,
remember.
I
Yeah,
know.
right here.
Exactly. I'm sorry, Harry.
You know what? Maybe we give the Harry the mic for the night, and you can just kind of.
Yeah, I could peace out.
Yeah.
Cool Bird, NHL coming to Seattle.
How do you
You
feel?
excited for that? There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Seattle U
Representing.
representing the WAC conference.
Yes. With
Red Hawks
a
fly
nominee
together.
For female sports star of the
Absolutely.
year too. Hi.
Alexis
All
Montgomery.
Of you guys are representing here tonight.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've got mascots galore. I'm loving this.
Can we do the rest of the
I know.
show like this?
Yeah.
We'll switch out.
Yeah.
I think nonverbal interviews would be a great segment.
I'm down for it. You know what? Let's make NHL to Seattle our storyline we talk about right now, because that is one of the nominees for Story of the Night.
Yes.
We've got a plus here.
Yeah, we've got
Absolutely.
Cool Bird.
Very excited.
Who's our hockey insider at the moment.
And 1,000,005 fans out there
Yeah.
watching T-Birds games all the time.
Yes.
Those
I mean,
fans are amazing.
I will
They're
say
great.
this, going down to the Shower Center in Kent, as
A
born
Kent
and
resident.
raised Kent homie, I love me some Thunderbirds games.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Shout out to the T-Birds getting it done in the WHL.
Yeah. Cool Bird, can you settle a debate? It's a hockey sweater, correct? How do you feel about people calling it a jersey?
Is it called
Wow.
a hockey sweater?
It's sweater. Yeah.
I call
Okay.
it a jersey
Okay.
with a 3/4 sleeve.
Oh, all right. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's specific, but I like that.
It's the most flattering jersey.
It is. It is.
It
And I
is.
mean, that Seattle Thunderbirds logo, one of the best in the game.
Yeah, I would
Absolutely.
say maybe the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a graduate of Chinook Middle School and Tyee High School, I am very down for this jersey.
All right. All right.
Cool Bird,
All
thank
right.
you for
Thank
thank
you.
you for stopping
Bye,
by.
Yeah.
Cool Bird.
Goodbye,
miss
Cool
you.
Bird.
Bye. Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Bye. I'll see you later, Cool
Whoa,
Bird.
hey,
Whoa.
hey. Shout out to the Mascots getting it done.
Exactly. Jess, you're stopping by. Did you? Oh no. Okay, Jess. That's just in preparation.
We've got someone
Oh,
coming
we-
by
Oh,
right
man.
here.
What do we
Again,
got
what's-
here?
It is the one and only, the throwing Samoan, your one, Jack Thompson, guys. Go Cougs, Jack. What does it mean to be here tonight?
I'm here to be with you, Jessamine.
Oh, stop
My
it. He flatters me. We'll talk about that
Cougs,
later.
yeah.
Seriously, a room full of multiple athletes with phenomenal accolades. One person after another you walk by. It's got to be a thrill to be here.
It really is. I walk in and I see Wally Walker, I see Gardner Minshew, and the list goes on and on. It's kind of cool, actually. You know, even for us old sports hacks.
Don't go there. Come on, he's not old, folks. Anyway, we were talking, we had Gardner Minshew on. We did talk to Morgan Weaver. It is nice to see the eastern side come over to the west. Everybody get together in one room, regardless of your affiliation.
Absolutely. And frankly, I've been to many of these, and I really believe us Cougs really have a chance of winning this one, you know, with Gardner and Morgan, and those two have represented the Cougs quite well, and I hope the voting proves out.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, great to be mentioned. It is great to be mentioned in that category, but you're right. I mean, we just talked to Gardner Minshew a few minutes ago. The way he put Washington State on the map this year, what was it like through your eyes?
Oh, it was epic. I was telling him the things that he and our team did this past year was you know, it was almost like it was dreamlike. You know, to go 11-2. I mean, I have to pinch myself, and what he brought to our team was nothing short of magical and frankly godsend. And I couldn't be more happy and more proud of the way he's represented us.
He certainly did. And we were having a discussion about looking forward because he's left the program in really good hands. And as opposed to coming into last season, there seems to be a lot of positivity moving forward and higher expectations, really.
Well, because he raised the bar. I mean, 11 wins in one season, the best we've ever had. The bar has been set high, and frankly, we have a crew of quarterbacks, and you know this better than anyone. I mean, you report on it. Really, and you add to that Gunnar Cruz. I look for a lot of competition at that quarterback position, and you know, for the Cougs, it all starts at the QB position.
Certainly does. You would know better than me. Don't put my knowledge.
I'm kind of biased.
No, it does make a lot of sense. And, you know, we were speaking with Alex Brink, one of the legends over there, affectionately known as the Husky Killer. And he was talking about the quarterback room, though, in a way that I hadn't thought about it, where you're the only single person on the field. So the only time you have a team around you playing the same position is in that quarterback room. What is that like?
Well, there's a lot of pressure, but those who choose to be quarterbacks, we revel in that pressure, and that's why you want to play that position, because it allows you to be the guy pulling the trigger and leading the rest of the other 10 players, and actually the whole team. In the way you carry yourself and the way you lead dictates how your team does, and so we love that.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I could do this all night long, but we have plenty more to get to as we have athletes just swarming around here. Our talented crew over here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, guys, take it away.
Thank you, Jessamine. The throwing Samoan, Jack Thompson. We've got Coug quarterback greats back-to-back. Gardner
Slate of
Minshew.
Cougs.
Yeah.
They're all standing in the same
Morgan
vicinity
Weaver.
right now. It just seems unfair.
Yeah,
I
there's
know.
So
I
many
feel
great
very
the
intimidated.
AD standing
Yeah.
around.
Yep.
The one Coug we haven't seen, though, is Butch. We
Yeah.
saw all the mascots.
Exactly. Where is he?
Where's Butch?
she. I don't know.
You know what? We're being slow played. You know,
think
just
so.
building suspense. Up
That's
until
what it
that.
is. It's the last and most important Coug to come
There you
through.
go.
So we're just waiting for him.
Yeah.
You guys have been sports fans your entire life. What do you think it is about Pullman, Washington, that creates such a unique sports community? Is it the geography?
I think the isolation
Yes,
has a
on
lot
the
to do
Palouse.
with
Which sounds like a joke, but it's serious because it really does. It's a small community by itself where everyone around there, like your team, no matter what, I'm sure there are people that more identify the Washington Cougars football as their team than any pro team. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that's true for everyone, but it is such a tight community.
I mean, you see it on the drive out to Pullman, barns painted
Yeah.
crimson and gray.
Yeah.
You've got hay bales saying "Go Cougs" on it. You don't see it coming this way with barns saying, "Go Huskies,"
No.
even though that's the college team in this town. I think that isolation and how it's a community that is ran entirely through Washington State University, where it's the entire town. Pullman is Wazzu, Wazzu is Pullman. I think that's what makes that bond you see between Cougs and their school so tight.
Kyle Brown, who is producer extraordinaire for Brock and Salk in the mornings and diehard Cougar football, he would say that occupies most of his time, finances
football?
outside of work, other than, of course, his dog, Bernie. But he had a great line. I asked him this once about, he said all the things that you fear initially about going to a small town become the things that you love about it when you leave.
I could see that.
The isolation, the lack of other things to do, the just limited opportunities. Those were all the things that he came to love about being a Coug and identify with as he left. Yeah, we're small, but that makes us loyal to one another. Yeah, there's not a lot to do, but you know what? We figure it out together. I just loved that.
Well, and I feel like I've had this conversation too, having gone to UW, and
Yes.
you talk about a sense of isolation, and it can start to feel like that when you're in a huge program
Yeah.
too. Obviously, it's a storied program that has a lot of great history, and so it has a ton of fans, and that doesn't make someone a fan or not a fan, but I do think it does with Pullman.
Yeah, Pullman it's just one of those unique places, man.
If you aren't a Coug and aren't from Pullman, it's one of those places that you'll have a tough time understanding.
You just don't get it.
Yeah, you just
You
don't get it.
it.
But those who have been there and those that we work with on a daily basis, not just Kyle, but Jim Moore.
My favorite thing about Jim Moore is that he says "Go Cougs" after everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every
Absolutely.
tweet, every just general
His
statement.
license plate on his car
No, it doesn't.
is Cougs Go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And it's one of those Wazzu personalized ones, so it's like crimson colored.
Well, now I guess you guys will know if you're out driving and you see Jim Moore.
Yeah, he's driving in
Thanks,
that
Curtis.
maroon Honda Ridgeline. He talks about it all the time.
It's out there. It's information.
It is. Let's get back to some of these nominees. Sports Story of the Year, we talked a little bit about the NHL Seattle. How about the Storm winning their third WNBA title? Breanna Stewart, WNBA MVP in her third season in the league. Sue Bird, the GOAT, the icon,
Period.
the legend.
The
Exactly.
GOAT,
Like, put her in the Basketball Hall of Fame right now. Her Game 5 performance in the Western Conference Finals against the Phoenix Mercury, against Diana Taurasi, someone who had never lost a win-or-go-home game in her entire life, like college and pro. To see Sue Bird act just dagger after dagger in that fourth quarter, one of the most unbelievable performances I think I've ever seen on a basketball court.
Yeah. I actually got to go to, I think maybe it was game 3. I got to go to one of those games, and it was absolutely incredible. Her toughness is unrivaled. I mean, to see her out there after, her injury.
Broke a nose.
Broke
wasn't
her
it?
nose.
Yeah.
I wanted one of those.
I was there. She got hit. Yeah, right.
I did.
She made it cool.
Yeah.
Where she got hit again in the face, was bleeding down, and was most upset because she had to come out of the
Got
game.
in the face of the ref and was just like, what?
Why
you can't
would you
let this
take
go.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, I hear that she might be walking around in this lobby at this moment that we might get to talk to her at some point, and I am very excited.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
as
stand
well.
by for that. I'm excited for that interview.
I've heard she's not alone.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there may be another guest in that same interview.
Oh, wow. You want to
Just
drop
saying.
a hint? Are you dropping a hint?
Just saying.
I don't know. You may just have to stay tuned to find out.
That's a tease. That's how you do a
That
tease,
is.
right
What else
there.
do we have on this list? We might have gone through them all.
I think we have.
Yeah.
For the sports stories of the year, male sports star of the year, Ben Burkervin, who we just had on, the Huskies, and their season. Mitch Haniger.
Yeah, we
someone
haven't really got to talk about Mitch.
Haven't gotten to talk much about the Mariners, who had an offseason that I think a lot of us are still trying to pinpoint as like, well, what is the direction of this team?
What do we be excited
They've
about? Right now?
spotlighted 2020 and 2021 as their window of contention. But in the meantime, you got somebody like Mitch Haniger, who had a breakout season, his very first All-Star game appearance, really cementing himself as not just one of the best Mariners, but one of the best right fielders in all of baseball, making throws all over the diamond.
A true 5-tool player. And as we learned, his nickname,
The Shed.
The Shed.
And I am still convinced that he added it himself to
Right.
Wikipedia because I've never heard that before in my life. I learned about it by going on his Wikipedia page.
We did.
Yes. We were prepping for an interview.
And we were like, wow, didn't know that Mitch Haniger's nickname was The Shed.
But then after we found that, I thought, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
works.
He's
And
got all the
actually,
tools.
not only that, but the Mariners have taken it and run with it. He's going to get his first bobblehead this next year, which is really a sign of you've made it.
Yeah.
That's really the most important
And
award
it
he's
is
gonna be getting.
nicknamed after The Shed. He's got his 5 tools. He's got his tool belt in tow on this bobblehead, which I'm really excited about.
No, I think it's just another reason, though, to and this is what's interesting when you talk about having a team that's doing, I know the Seahawks were so hesitant to use the word rebuild, but let's just say a rebuild. I don't think the Mariners are hesitant
how many
to use
different
that.
words did we hear?
Retooling,
Reimagining.
rebuild, reimagining, reinventing.
A roster reimagining.
Rethinking.
Anytime
reshuffle.
a team takes a step back to look at their squad and figure out what they might want to sacrifice short term to make big improvements and gains long term, I think for the players in that situation, it becomes really tricky. If you're a player, you understand that you have a playing window that's limited, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to give up and take a step back. And so players like Mitch and players, the new guys that they have, I think it becomes, I don't know that they're going to be contending this year, but there's a lot of new talent to watch this year.
And we heard it from them at the pre-spring training media conference. We got to hear from a couple of those young stars, J.P. Crawford, Malik Smith, Justice Sheffield, and it was a common theme. As competitors, as elite athletes, it's not like you ever take a step back.
Yeah.
You are constantly going. You hate to lose. You are going out there every day with the intention of winning. So them, as individual athletes and as a team, are going to be doing everything they can to win. But you're right. As a team, it's this weird vibe where you have to also
athletes
say
aren't throwing a game to try to help draft
No.
stock. I mean, athletes are like, I'm being paid to be here, and this is what I want to do. It's my passion. And so I think it's going to make for a really interesting season.
I know this might be a little bit of a segue, but I just want to ask you guys, there's a lot of discussion on 710 today and in the past couple of days about the proposed MLB rule changes.
Okay.
Let's talk about this.
I just wanted to see how you guys, what you thought about them, if you are a fan of course, some of these might not get approved. It's just a proposal from the MLB, also a proposal from the MLB Players Association.
So can we, because here's the thing. I don't mean to sound like I don't do my job or know how to do my job, but I was listening to a podcast about this season of True Detective, kind of breaking it down, so I don't actually know what these rules are.
That's okay.
I was preoccupied with important things.
Yes,
so I didn't.
Well, yeah.
It's called prioritizing, and
Yes.
Stacey knows how to do it.
I mean, if you have questions about True Detective, hit me up.
Yeah. But, okay, so here's a couple of, probably the most hotly debated one is making a 3-batter minimum for every pitcher that goes out onto the mound.
Okay.
Right now, no such thing exists. You can go out and throw one pitch and be taken out of the game. And a huge part of baseball right now is specialization, is using especially the left-handed pitcher to get your lefty out. So you can have a lefty specialist that might get paid $10 million a year, and he's out there to go get one batter out. So baseball, thinking that this might help pace of play, might help enjoyability of the game, is saying, no, now you've got to face at least 3 batters every time you go out there. That's one of the propositions.
Is that the least popular one?
I think it's up there among the more popular in terms of debate, in terms of
Exactly.
people being on one side of it or another. Also, the universal DH being among I think the 2 or 3 most talked about ones.
I'm fine with that. Is anyone not? Maybe it's because we're in the AL West.
Yes.
I guess I'm not opposed to having a designated hitter for everyone.
As a huge Cardinals fan,
Yeah, I was
and
going to say, as a
someone-
National League, someone who grew up
yeah.
watching a National League team.
Yes. I feel like I grew up as a diehard Mariners and diehard Cardinals fan, so I've gotten to watch both, and I love both for what they are. I honestly love the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I love the strategy involved in. I know people say that this is a superior or an inferior product watching National League games because they've got to watch a pitcher come up and hit, but there's a certain strategizing that happens. You get to see your pinch hitters more in the National League. Do I replace the pitcher now? Do I use my pinch hitter? And also there's just nothing like seeing a pitcher go up to bat and jack a home run. Like
That's true.
The
I'll give you
vibe
that.
of the stadium when that happens.
We've
is
only seen
so
it once
fun.
in Seattle.
Right, yeah.
Felix Hernandez in a grand slam.
And he'll never let you forget about it.
Absolutely
Felix
not.
will remind you constantly about it.
I think the 3-batter minimum, I am for.
Okay.
You're a pitcher. Your job is to get outs. It shouldn't matter who you're going up against, whether they bat left-handed or right-handed. And I say this as someone who's left-handed.
Wow,
I have a
thank you for
special
admitting
place
that.
in my heart.
Yeah,
I know.
that
That
was
was
brave.
tough to admit tonight. I have a
This is a
special
safe
place in my
space.
heart
You're
for
coming
those
clean.
lefty-only pitchers. Well, not so much Zach Duke. He didn't win me over last year.
But
Mark
other than that,
Sepczynski, maybe?
Yeah, he didn't win me over
Might
either.
so
have
it sounds
struggled
like no
there.
one. It sounds
Yeah.
like literally
Yeah.
no one.
Yeah, so maybe if there were a little more success recently, I'd have a softer spot in my heart for those kinds of
All
guys.
right.
I'm for the 3-batter minimum. I'm also for the universal DH.
So you're for all of these
I'm
rules.
all for
you really
these rule
don't,
changes.
I feel like these are far less controversial
The
than
pitch
the ones.
clock, though.
That's what. Yes.
The 20-second pitch clock, which I think is actually one of the ones that's gotten the most negative response from players. At least on Twitter, from what I've seen, players not a huge fan of this one. Just because
fair.
it limits their. I mean, if you watch a major league game and you watch pitchers and how OCD they are about their routines
Yeah.
and everything they go through, I could see that this would irk them a little
Yeah.
bit.
And I feel like how starters approach each pitch is much different than how relievers do.
Absolutely,
Relievers
yeah.
are much more quicker in getting their pitches in. Whereas a guy who's going to go 7, 8 innings, to expect him in innings 6, 7, and 8 to be as quick to the plate as
Yeah.
he is in innings 1, 2, and 3, I think that's not a good idea. You're going to get much more tired out there with a faster clock.
Well, and to
Absolutely.
me, if you're trying to just increase pace of play so that you can, in my opinion, they're trying to bring in just younger viewers, then there's 1,000,005 other ways to do that doesn't involve literally trying to take seconds away from something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways that the MLB can expand its fan base or in its own opinion, become more exciting. Because that's what these mean to me. I mean, I don't think it's
Yep.
boring,
Yeah.
but I think that when you make changes like this, you think that there's a problem. So I just don't know that that's your solution.
And I also, I mean, Curtis, you mentioned the physical aspect, but I think the mental aspect is also important too. There's so much of a mental chess match or, going on between the
Yeah,
pitcher
what if
and
you
the
start
batter.
missing that?
It is them trying to understand. I mean, they have studied these batters. They know how they respond to all these different pitches, but there's just this amazing mental chess match going on of how to read this guy. How do I get this guy out? And I think if you rush a pitcher through that, you're going to miss some of that. And as a baseball fan, I don't want to miss out on that.
No, definitely not.
No.
Bring me the chess match. I'm a big fan of it too, because that's a big part of where games are won and lost. Is say a pitcher gets out of his comfort zone, he's missing his spots. The batter now knows that he has the upper hand in that matchup. You force a pitcher to, go a little faster. You don't know how that's going to affect the game going forward. I'm against the pitch clock. One rule that I was a little intrigued by was the draft rewards and penalties for teams that.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like a credit card.
yeah, exactly.
Do you
it's
get
like,
miles?
It's like magnesis. It's
Two
it's-
times the reward.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're going to penalize teams that don't reach a certain win total over the course of 3 seasons in the draft. So let's say you don't meet 180 wins, which would be 60 wins per year for a 3-year stretch. If you don't meet that, then they may dock a draft pick or two.
This is ridiculous.
But
wait, are we supposed to think this is ridiculous? My gut is that this is ridiculous.
As you mentioned, it's usually in response to a problem, and MLB has a significant problem now with teams openly admitting that they are not going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Saying that they are going to tank for X amount of years. The Astros are the easiest example to use.
Cubs.
Exactly, to accumulate those high draft picks. And MLB is finally realizing, no, it's creating too much unwatchable baseball, essentially. And when you get those teams with 100-loss season, and if it's happening multiple years, you want teams competing every single year to make your product the best it can be. So I understand the theory behind it. I'll be interested on the actual logistics and how teams would respond to this.
Yeah, say you're a team like the Orioles, where you were actually trying to win a year ago.
Yes.
And you ended up having one of the worst seasons ever.
Except for the Cleveland Spiders.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, who played who played their entire second half of the season on the road, as we found out.
How many wins did we realize they got? 22?
Yeah,
no, it can't have been that low.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was.
So wait, a little context for everybody else who doesn't know the Cleveland Spiders.
They are the losingest single-season
There you
team
go.
in baseball history.
Perfect.
And we researched them yesterday, and because we were on this topic of the Orioles being terrible.
Well, we were trying to figure out what is the level that you'll tank? Can you surpass what the Orioles did? What's below what you thought was the low bar?
Yeah, and we found out that even Baltimore had quite a ways to go before they were going to.
Baltimore would have crushed the Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah,
shout out to the Cleveland Spiders. So how many games did they manage to win?
I think it was less than 30 or less.
It was like 23 or 24.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it was like
Actively
1899
Well,
when you had guys who doubled as iron workers.
There might have legitimately been some players they lost to the plague. I'm not convinced.
Or the Spanish flu.
Influenza. Yeah, exactly. All right. I could totally see that.
It was a tough year for the flu.
Cleveland has been through some things in their sports past. So, wow. All right, Cleveland Spiders.
Yeah.
I might have to get a jersey or something.
They had a pretty cool logo.
Okay.
I'm very pro Cleveland Spiders.
So they had at least that going for them.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
We
started this whole conversation with Mitch Haniger, and I'm sorry, I might have derailed.
Here we are.
I might have derailed Curtis from actually talking. We got onto his
Honestly,
bobblehead.
I'm having a blast talking about the Spiders. More of these male sports star nominees. Brian Schmetzer, head coach of the Sounders, who continue to be just rousing success among the Seattle sports scene ever since they came into existence back in 2009. It just seems like every single year they're making a run in the postseason. They had that crazy game against Portland in the Western Conference semifinals this year where the aggregate scoring came into play. Mm-hmm. Portland was going back and forth. It ended in a shootout. Portland ended up advancing to the MLS Cup finals. But you look at the success that the Sounders have had in their existence, it's almost expected that they compete for an MLS Cup every single season.
But this year in particular, I honestly think that they could have easily fallen into best sports story of the year as well, because where they were in June and July was one place, and where they ended the season was another. And I think that is why you find Brian Schmetzer on this list, because they were in the depths of despair in the summer and then turned it around
in such a short period of time.
Incredible to watch.
It seems to be something that he's kind of made his trademark, because in 2016 when they won the MLS Cup, at one point in the season they were at the very bottom of the standings.
They literally started from the bottom.
Now their whole team here.
Yeah. They didn't start from the bottom, but it worked. The joke in the moment worked.
But then
don't take it from me.
They got incredibly hot that year and ended up winning in a shootout in Toronto and taking home the city's first ever MLS Cup.
Certainly a deserving nominee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. More female sports star nominees. We talked to Morgan Weaver, Jody Taylor of Seattle Reign FC, who they are now going to become the Tacoma Reign.
Yeah, or just the Reign.
Yeah.
No association. They will be playing in Tacoma, but they're just going to drop the actual city reference
Don't need it.
They're taking their they're following the model of some of the European soccer teams that just are just
Rain
rather-
FC.
Rain FC, which I like.
Speaking of team names, obviously the NHL Seattle team name, we're
let's
trying
talk about
we're
this.
trying to figure it out.
we put this
but-
off for as long as we could. But
No, it's
Yeah.
important that we bring it up now because I have thoughts.
Yeah. I think the name that is the most controversial among support and
Oh, I already know what
Backlash
they're going to say.
is the Kraken. For or
right,
against,
let's get into this.
and why?
Okay, reason number 1 for amazing logo. You can do a lot with the logo. Reason number 2, you can say let's get it crackin' as part of like kind of a team slogan thing.
Sure,
I know
sure.
let's just it's an amazing slogan.
True.
Reason number 3, you can have someone hand out like soda and chips. This is the same thing I was thinking for
With,
the
like,
spiders.
8 different
that
arms?
has different arms
Yeah.
that connect things. I'm thinking ahead now.
right?
Yes.
I actually think this means that you've thought about this. I kind of envision you having like a board at home.
With the red yarn. It's
Yeah.
by my True Detective board is my mascot board, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for evidence of what they've chosen so far. What would be a reason against? I mean, just that it's, here's the thing. Are NHL team names not sometimes kind of weird?
They are. And
The
they,
Wild.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
Minnesota
not
Wild.
like everyone is like an animal mascot.
Yeah.
The NHL is they get a little quirky.
I love to look up NHL history, and not even just the NHL, because there's about 10 to 12 defunct hockey leagues that existed before
Yeah,
and after
like the Pittsburgh Quakers.
Exactly, and some of the old names are amazing. There was the Montreal Millionaires, I believe,
Down
at
for
one
it.
point. Portland has always played off the Roses thing. They've been the Rosebuds. They had a hockey team called the Rosebuds at one point. Yeah, there's been some gems over the years, and I think you're right. Like, it fits with that shtick.
I personally think that Seattle Kraken, I get it, like why you wouldn't want it, but at the same time, I think it's better than half the other things
Yeah,
I've seen.
sockeye, like, I guess you could say that's a good name, but like
It's not even the best salmon.
It's a pretty wimpy fish. Like, it's
Wow.
you know,
I'm
yeah.
just saying it's
Wow.
not the best salmon. Like, hi.
Yeah. At me on Twitter.
I'm going to say something controversial. I am very not for totems.
Okay.
And I'll-
Okay, but this is a great,
No,
this
it's
is personal.
'cause
Very
you're-
not personal.
Because that nickname belongs to Tai.
Because it belongs to
Totem.
Tyee High School
Totem.
in SeaTac, Washington. That's right.
Yeah, so there's some personal bias in there, which I appreciate.
Thank you.
It's,
I'm
al-
not hiding
it's already represented in the community by
Yes.
a storied sports franchise, I'm sure, as they've
Yeah.
got down there at Tyee.
Yep.
Is there one that you guys are leaning towards? I mean, Kraken sounds like it might be one of your favorites, but Curtis, is there one that we've heard how you feel about? So
Feeling
you're out.
Kraken. I like totems as well.
Yeah.
That
How
was
about
the
whales?
original WHL team. That's who the Thunderbirds were at one point.
Yeah.
And Steelheads. That's another one that I'm
Okay,
enjoying.
yeah.
That was the name of the Seattle Negro League baseball team.
Yes.
At one point. I think that would be.
Amazing uniforms.
Yeah, I think
Please
that would
look
be.
Really
up
cool
the
bit of
uniforms.
history to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a history here in town. I think that could be a branding that people could get behind.
That's fair.
I'm for it.
How do you guys? No talk about the Metropolitans has been brought up.
Okay, because I'm not against the Metropolitans. I think it's very chic. It reminds, when I think Seattle Metropolitans, I think of something that is a very overpriced plate with a single scallop.
Which is perfect for Seattle right now.
With like
Right now.
an aioli drizzle.
Yeah,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
just a single, like one bit of parsley.
Like one
and it's
leaf.
$85.
Yep.
That's what Seattle Metropolitans makes me think of. I know that it was the name. I get it, but I'm not against it.
Now,
It's very chic.
in the Metropolitans' history, now when you talk
Stanley
team
Cup
nickname,
winners.
yeah, you talk team name. You also got to talk about their sweater, their uniform colors.
Yeah.
The Metropolitans had the candy stripe, red, green, and like white jerseys.
Yeah, kind of like the off-white.
Yeah.
With
it,
the
it
S.
kind of looked like those Pittsburgh Steelers jerseys, just with different colors.
Yeah.
From a couple of.
It's a little holiday-esque. It's a
Yeah.
little Christmas-esque.
It's a different time, though.
It was. That was like the 1920s.
Yeah.
You know.
It's not the 2020s, which we're coming up on.
Hey.
But I want to know, what team colors are you guys feeling?
I'm glad this is where our
Okay,
conversation is going.
exactly. We have so many thoughts. We could talk about uniforms, numerology, all you want. So red seems to be, whether you like it or not, seems to be something
Admit
that
it.
the NHL Seattle is running with.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've put it in all of their billboards, advertisements.
The arena renderings.
Yes.
They've got a lot of red
Lights.
imagery.
When they raised the flag on the Seattle Center, or on the Space Needle,
Yeah.
it was red and black. So I think maybe that is the hint. They're trying to get us desensitized and ready for it. I mean, can you imagine like a Seattle sports team though with red?
See, here's the thing. The Seattle, the Tyee totems, yes, we were red, black, and white.
So I am for a different color scheme
Okay.
than the blue, green, and white
You're
that
tired
we've
of
seen from the Mariners and Seahawks and the Sounders. Yeah, I'm getting a little tired of it.
Okay, that's fair.
That's fair. It's fair.
You got to diversify my wardrobe, because if you know me, you know that I end up wearing something with some kind of Seattle sports logo on it. And I could use a little more black and red in my wardrobe. I don't know about you guys.
Look
I'm
who's here.
distracted.
Do we have a
because
guest
we
with
have
us?
We have a very
really
important
big,
guest.
yeah,
We do.
special guest in the house.
This is our...
Fearless
Sir,
leader.
could you introduce yourself to us?
Yep,
I'm
that's-
Brock Heward.
You Brock Eward.
In the flesh.
He looks different in person.
For all of
You
you,
know what?
who you just imagine someone in your brain when you listen to
I'm
the show.
actually Mike
Yeah.
Salk.
Oh.
Okay, it's really Mike
Such a
Stahl.
Brock thing to say.
Yeah.
Oh man, he
Man.
cracks
No,
me up.
I tell you what, you are looking good.
Me?
Wow.
Right?
Where'd that suit come from?
Well,
That
it's...
tie?
I've been saving up.
I tell you what, you need a raise.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
The big boss man
Got it-
said, I need
got
a
it on
raise.
record.
Yeah, we've
Okay,
got...
On the
I'm gonna let
record.
you guys do your job.
Okay,
All right.
now he's realized
No, thank you,
he
Brock.
has bit off more
Thank
than
you, Mike Salk. We appreciate
yeah,
you
You guys
stopping
look
by.
great. You're
Yeah.
doing a great job.
Thank you.
Wow, Brock and Salk
Wow.
in one person joining
yeah,
us.
joining us.
Yeah.
We are honored by that.
He's Danny O'Neill.
Well, we are approaching the end of our show today, which, by the way, thank you so much for joining us and get towards the end, wrapping things up before the actual ceremony begins.
I'm so
You guys-
excited to see it.
You guys have any final predictions for?
Oh yeah, we
or-
didn't even give
Yeah.
our
Oh my God, let's
predictions
do that
for
now. Let's
crystal
close
ball.
out by
winner.
doing
All
this.
right.
Okay.
Let's start with
do
female sports.
Yep.
Female sports star of the year. What
I'm
do you
going
guys think
Brianna
there?
Stewart.
Yeah, it's hard to top that one.
MVP, and then what she did off the court this year with her Players Tribune
Yes.
article detailing, a harrowing childhood experience that she had.
Mm-hmm.
What she accomplished on the court was impressive, but what she accomplished off of it, I
Yeah.
think, spoke even more than what
I think
she
that's
did.
unanimous.
I would
for
totally
all of
agree
us.
with that. Also, if you saw at Christmas, she loves her fellow teammate did like a toy drive. Bree went to like 2 full carts of toys, went to Target and bought all these to support a friend, but also to give to kids at Christmas. It was amazing.
Let's do male sports star of the year.
All right.
I'm going to say Gardner Minshew. Tyler Lockett is up there. He's who I thought about first with a
Yeah.
career year from him. But I just see his career being so long with Seattle. And Gardner Minshew had a year where it felt like he was everywhere.
Yep.
And it was one of the best sports stories in Washington. This past year was Washington State's story with their football program.
You
It
guys-
had
Yeah.
levels.
I love that we are all on the same page here so far. I am absolutely going with the mustache on this one because I think it was one of those things that transcended just the program that he was about.
Yes.
We all felt like Cougs. And
Yeah.
finally, sports story of the year. You
I think
guys?
we may have some differing opinions.
All
on
right,
this one.
let's hear.
I'm going to say it is going to be the NHL coming to Seattle.
I think I might have to go with that one as well.
Okay, so then I was wrong.
Oh,
'cause
yeah!
I said NHL Seattle as well.
Let's do this.
There we go.
Unanimous.
All right.
I mean, brand new franchise coming to town. It doesn't get much better than that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Really
Yes.
appreciate it. Putting up with our silliness, our talk of uniforms and colors and potential.
Yeah.
You know,
Let's go eat some bread and watch the show.
I am
Absolutely.
so down
I'm
with
all
that.
about them carbs.